AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Musu. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Phil Steele in 15 minutes. Terrio in studio next hour. A lot of football to preview as we head into your football weekend. So let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Obviously, Tigers are off this weekend. Saints and Giants from the Dome on Sunday. On a Friday, we've already got the final injury report for Saints-Giants. And Saints, God, this is an extensive injury report. They're going to be shorthanded, so we have these injury designations already. 4 players will be out. So Cesar Ruiz and Chase Young, we already knew were going to be out for the New Orleans Saints. Trey Palmer is out. He was limited on Wednesday and then a DNP Thursday and Friday, so he was downgraded throughout the week. And then same thing for Isaac Yiadom with the hamstring. He was limited Wednesday and then Thursday, Friday out. He is out for the game. So one interesting note that our buddy Ross Jackson over at LouisianaSports.net noted with Isaac Yiadom is that the way his contract is structured is such that if he ends up playing more than 25% of the defensive snaps this year, then the Saints will forfeit the compensatory 4th-round pick that they're allowed to get from Paulson Adebo, leaving for incidentally for the Giants. So there's even a little bit more incentive for New Orleans not to play Isaac Yiadom. Listen, if he was a starter and a great player, that's one thing. You're certainly happy to have him play that role. But on a team that's 30th in scoring defense right now, and Isaac Yiadom being more of a rotational player, wouldn't you on a losing team, wouldn't you rather have the 4th-round pick, the compensatory selection for Paulson Adebo? Of course you would. So I think, look, Yiadom this week with the hamstring is limited and is going to be out for this game. But I think moving forward, that's going to be something that bears watching, is they're going to have to keep an eye on his snap count the entire season, because you're not giving up a 4th-round pick to play Isaac Yiadom on a bad team. That's just what it's going to be. So with Yiadom out, the most interesting conversation now becomes around Quincy Riley. Quincy Riley, of course, is the rookie from Louisville who the Saints drafted, who's seen some playing time, some increased playing time. On a Friday when Kellen Moore met with reporters, he talked about what you can expect from Riley.
He's had his fair amount of opportunities the last couple of weeks. I thought he's been productive. He's made plays. A lot of positives coming out of that. If the opportunity presents itself, he'll be ready to go.
The opportunity is presenting itself because Yiadom is out. So you'll have Kool-Aid McKinstry, and then Quincy Riley would stand to reason in line for his first start with the New Orleans Saints. And what's interesting is while Riley's only played 40, he's played in 2 games, 2 of the 4 games with 42 snaps. When you look at Pro Football Focus, Isaiah Stallbird, he's played 6 snaps, but he's got the highest grade at 94.5. Maybe give that guy some more snaps. I don't know. Anyway, Demario Davis is your highest graded starter, followed by Julian Blackmon, again, who played in 1 game, suffered the shoulder injury, he's done for the year. Then Jonas Sanker, Chris Rumpf, and then Quincy Riley. Quincy Riley is the 6th highest rated player, according to Pro Football Focus. And honestly, you can strike Stallbird and Blackmon from the list because Stallbird's only played and played 6 snaps, and Blackman played in just 1 game. So really, Riley's the 4th highest rated player on PFF behind Demario Davis, Jonas Sanker, and Chris Rumpf. So I'm not sitting here trying to tell you that Quincy Riley is going to go out there and turn into to prime Deion Sanders. It's like it'd be Champ Bailey as a rookie in his first start. But, this is one of the things where we keep talking about this year for New Orleans, and it's about identifying cornerstone pieces. And the hope is the reason you went and used 9 draft picks in this most recent draft was to start to build your roster with young, affordable talent that you hope can become cornerstone pieces on rookie deals. So far, Jonas Sanker looks the part at safety. Quincy Riley, again, he's played in 2 games. He's got 42 snaps. Let me see what it looks like for Quincy Riley if he goes and starts this game. This is also sort of a favorable matchup because there's no Malik Neighbors. So, whoever if it's Jalen Hyatt or whomever he may draw the assignment this week, it's going to be a much more favorable matchup than it would for everybody defensively in New Orleans than if Malik Neighbors were playing. Of course, we're sick about Malik's injury, but it's the reality of this situation is you're out there trying to figure out a way to and through this game to get your first win, and there's a really good opportunity. But I would tell you, Quincy Riley, it's one of the biggest storylines of this week for me anyway for the New Orleans Saints. Can Jonas Sanker continue to play at the level he has? And then also we'll keep an eye on Quincy Riley. The rest of this injury report, again, it is there are 6 Saints players that are questionable. The 4 that are out, 6 more are questionable. Juwan Johnson, Trevor Penning, Dylan Radins, Taysom Hill, Foster Moreau, and then John Ridgeway. Now, the other 3, Hill, Moreau, Ridgeway, have returned to practice from starting the season on PUP. They're physically unable to perform, so they've had their 21-day windows open. So in theory, those guys could play this weekend. Now, by the structure of the rule book, they are eligible to be signed to the active roster and play. That their 21-day window is open. But Kellen Moore was asked about Taysom Hill and Foster Moreau if they could actually play Sunday.
You just got to take the whole week. I mean, this is their first week. They've been able to do a couple things this week in practice. We just got to kind of see how their bodies are feeling as they kind of go through a full week for the first time this season. And so, they've done some good things, but obviously there's a lot of work that would have to go into that.
And one more quick follow-up. Kellen Moore was asked how this week of practice went for those 2 guys.
They did a nice job. Obviously, for Taysom and Foster, I mean, this is a long journey. They've been through a lot from a recovery standpoint. And so, for them just to be back in pads, obviously was a huge step for them. A lot of work has to be done to kind of get back into football shape and back into getting used to playing the actual game of football. But, they've done a lot of positives this week in their roles.
It is really unrealistic to think that those 2 guys are going to play this weekend. That is pure speculation on my part. But the fact that you're going to get these guys back soon is a gigantic plus. For an offense that needs any bit of talent infusion it can get, you get 2 NFL starting caliber players back. Obviously, yes, that's going to be a great thing. For the Giants, nobody listed as out as of now. Tyrone Tracy, the running back, is doubtful. Remember, that's why Cam Scadaboo has seen his workload increase because of the shoulder injury to Tyrone Tracy. He was a DNP Wednesday, Thursday. He was limited Friday, so he's doubtful for Sunday, but could play. And then Dexter Lawrence and Tyler Nubin are both questionable. Now, Lawrence, this could be significant. He's listed with an illness, but he was a DNP this entire week. And Dexter Lawrence is a disruptive player on that defensive line. And honestly, there's 6 sacks a week ago for the Giants' defensive front against the Chargers is one of the primary reasons they won that game. They won the game 21-18. I mean, Jackson Dart only threw for 111 yards. He had, I think, 54 on the ground. So it was a nice job of balance there, and he affected things with his feet, and he had a rushing touchdown. But really, it was the Giants' defense and the pressure they put on Justin Herbert that was a differentiator. If they don't have Dexter Lawrence, it's a massive loss on the interior of that defense there for the Giants. So that's one worth keeping an eye on. I mean, you look at the rest of this injury. I mean, basically the entire team is on the injury list. I mean, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, they have 15 players listed. I mean, Jackson Dart and Cam Scadaboo are both listed as well on the injury report. Now, as was Russell Wilson and Andrew Thomas. I mean, they were all full participants, but they're listed on the injury report. Dart with a hamstring, Scadaboo with a knee. He's got a knee. Russell Wilson with an ankle. As I look, though, nobody with a toe. Nobody. How about that? The toe epidemic in New Orleans has not reached New York.
Not yet. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, honestly, it's really bad, so I hope it doesn't reach out. I mean,
what if it's contagious?
Oh, no. They come down here.
Come here, you get a toe. You'd hate if they catch a toe.
I mean, look, I got it. Matt, you bring that up. Brock Purdy missed the game in New Orleans because of a toe.
You're right. And that was before he even got here.
Yeah.
And he had a toe. And Dylan Radins says right there on the injury report. Toe. And then you get the toe, and the toe can beget an ankle like Trevor Penning.
Like Trevor Penning.
Had the toe, has an ankle. See if the Giants can avoid getting a toe while they're here. Saints-Giants, Sunday in the Dome. Show Open Every Day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR. Our friends over at Mockler Beverage, I say it often, you never have to go far without seeing Mockler Beverage plant their flag and, of course, their beer somewhere in Louisiana. This weekend, Trey Gallman at Fat Cat Saloon in Prairieville. That was last night. Tonight, Boogie on the Bayou in Plaquemine. The Hollow Wheel Charity Tennis Tournament in Baton Rouge. Mockler's presenting that. The St. Augustine Church Fair in New Roads. La Fête des Voutons in Raceland is going on this weekend as well. The crew of Bayou Piety? Man, I'm going to tell you what, that's not a show van. Some of the stuff I can't, I lived here my whole life. Some of the stuff I can't even pronounce. McNeese against Southeastern, of course, a great sponsor of the McNeese State Cowboys. Point is, Mockler Beverage, all over the state of Louisiana. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of the New Orleans Saints, official beer of your LSU Tigers. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Look, if you're going to drink some beer, follow it up a little Evermore, of course. Got to stay hydrated, y'all. Grab your Evermore, EVAMOR, evermore.com. Delicious, refreshing. I drink 2 of the 64-ounce bottles every day. Got to stay hydrated. Natural artesian water, healthier product, healthier alternative for your children, for your family. High-level athlete needing to stay hydrated. You want Evermore, and it's a Louisiana product. EVAMOR. Go to evermore.com, evermore.com. When you go to evermore.com, you hit the menu tab. You'll see the store locator, so you can find stores that carry Evermore right there near you. And if you walk into a store that doesn't have it, ask the manager why not. Demand they carry the best. Evermore. EVAMOR, evermore.com. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. Phil Steele is going to join us as he does every single Football Friday. We'll preview the biggest games of the college football weekend. We do have a couple of unranked teams favored over ranked teams. We'll see where Phil falls on those and all the other biggest games of the college football weekend. Phil Steele joins us next here on Friday edition of AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
After Further Review.
Have you entered yet? Our friends over at Duplessis Builders are giving away a custom pool, all to benefit Dreams Come True of Louisiana. I love telling you about Duplessis Builders. Derek's an awesome dude, local guy, built a great company. They support the Tigers with a lot of their NIL initiatives, and now giving back to one of the great organizations in Louisiana. Dreams Come True of Louisiana grants dreams to kids with terminal or life-threatening illnesses, and 100% of the funds stay right here in Louisiana. So this is what Duplessis Builders is doing. They've committed to building a custom pool for the Dream Pool Sweepstakes. It's easy. Go to 1045ESPN.com, 1045ESPN.com, 1045ESPN.com. If you donate $25, minimum, donate as much as you want, please, but minimum $25 to Dreams Come True Louisiana, you could win a custom pool from Duplessis Builders. It's duplessisbuilders.net. Check them out online at duplessisbuilders.net.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
It's Football Friday. It means we get to talk to Phil Steele. Of course, philsteele.com, the Phil Steele College Football Magazine. Go to take that Phil Steele Plus tour over at philsteele.com. And he's with us every Friday. Phil, how are you, man?
I'm doing great, Matt. How about yourself?
We're doing a lot better if we're going into the bye week after a win, but such is life as a football fan, but plenty of season left. A lot of games tonight, nothing really tempting on the card, but my goodness, is there a lot of good conference matchups on Saturday. I'm curious, Kentucky at Georgia, Phil, just the bounce back spot from Georgia. They're a 19.5-point home favorite. They've always been so good at home, but they lost last week to Bama. So Is this maybe a sleepy spot for Georgia, 11 a.m. Central?
Well, I got to think that coming off a loss, you're going to see Georgia play one of its better games. It's rare when they're off a loss. In fact, over the last 5 years now, they're 3-1 against the spread off a loss. The scary thing is they're a horrible home favorite, Matt. I mean, you go back and take a look at the last 3 years. They've won 3, they've lost 12, and they have pushed on 1. So when they are late in a large margin, they tend to struggle. And Kentucky's played them close. Last year was an extremely close game. But, of course, the last time they were here, Georgia blew them out. So, I mean, 51-13, and that was coming off of the Auburn game. So I'm going to probably side with Georgia bouncing back off a loss, but I'm always a little queasy with Kirby Smart as a home favorite. He's a great away favorite, but not a good home favorite.
Saw that last week. In the Big 12, you got Iowa State at Cincinnati. Phil, and one of the lines we love here, the angles we love here, is an unranked team favored over a ranked team. Well, here you have it. 3-1 Cincinnati. They're a 2.5-point home favorite over number 14 and undefeated Iowa State. So what gives?
Well, first of all, as you know, reading the magazine, I had Cincinnati as one of my dark horse teams in the Big 12.
Yep.
This is the first time Coach Satterfield's had an experienced squad. His first 2 squads were extremely inexperienced. This year they now have experience, and they're playing great. They only lost to Nebraska by 3 on the road. One on the road beat Kansas, and now they're hosting Iowa State. And Iowa State's without their top 2 corners. And really, when I talked to Coach Campbell, these were their top 2 defensive backs. They're both out for the year. That's unfortunate. Same thing they hit Iowa State last year. They were down like their top 5 or 6 defensive players at one point last year when they lost to Texas Tech and Kansas in back-to-back weeks. But as much as I like Cincinnati, I think it's 2 go-with teams. Iowa State survived the post-Ireland stuff that happens, a team that goes to Ireland. They came off a bye, blasted Arizona. I still think they're one of the top teams in the Big 12, and all they have to do is basically win the game here. I'm going to go with Iowa State plus the points. I think they're the better team and get the win.
Phil Steele's with us on Twitter at PhilSteele042. A big line, but this one has some intrigue just because of what's going on there with Luke Fickell. The Badgers are a 17.5-point dog there at the Big House against Michigan. Some may say if it goes this way, that could be it for Luke Fickell. Last stand here for the Badgers. Can they keep it close?
I think they have a shot at keeping it close. I probably like the under a little bit better. Michigan's strength, running the football. I mean, they're averaging 254 yards per game, 6.7 yards per carry on the ground. And Wisconsin, meanwhile, they've already played Alabama. They've played an unbeaten Maryland. And they are number 1 in the nation in rush defense, holding opponents to 50 yards per game, just 2.1 yards per carry. In fact, when I talked to Coach Fickell, each of the years he's been there, his main thing was to get this defensive line bigger. When he took over, they basically were playing 2 defensive linemen, 2 outside linebackers. We're smaller up front. Now they've got the size, and the rush defense is showing. My concern, if you're back in Wisconsin, is I haven't seen a lot of this Wisconsin offense. And both Billy Edwards and Danny O'Neal, their quarterbacks. I mean, Luke Fickell, he has lost his starting quarterback in the first or second game each of his 3 years there.
Wow.
How tough is that? So I don't see them putting up a lot of points. I don't see Michigan. I know the total's low in the lower 40s, but I would stay with the under in this one. I think it'll be an old-time Big Ten slobber knocker.
Yeah, Phil, I don't know that there's a lot of intrigue in this game other than just the names on the marquee and the storylines, but Clemson goes to Chapel Hill to take on North Carolina. Clemson's 1-3, UNC's 2-2 there under Bill Belichick. And the Tigers are a 13.5-point road favorite here. If Clemson's going to get going, they're still looking for their first ACC win. I feel like this is a good opportunity for the Tar Heels. This is their first ACC game of the season. A thought on Clemson at North Carolina?
Yeah, I like Clemson here. I think, looking at the talent they have, they're so much better than their record. And, a close loss to LSU when they were winning. The close game at Georgia Tech, an undefeated Georgia Tech on the road, they lost by 3. And then just the Syracuse game, I don't know what the heck happened to them. But they're off a bye. I think when you look at the talent, Cade Klubnik hasn't played to his talent level, but can. They've got the receiving core, the offensive line, the running backs. I just don't see that type of talent with North Carolina. I mean, I watched them against UCF. They were ugly. I watched them against TCU. They were ugly. And they didn't blow me away against either Charlotte or Richmond, 2 really bad teams. So I think Clemson just has so much more talent. They still have they still, believe it or not, could win the ACC. I mean, they've got 2 losses, but a lot of the ACC teams are falling. We may see them in the ACC title game if they win out. I'm going to go with Clemson to go on the road and get this one comfortably.
Another interesting one where you talk about a coach who might well be on the hot seat, Billy Napier. They're at home. The Gators are against Texas. The Longhorns are a 5.5-point road favorite here. I think maybe that line might be shorter than some might have thought, considering the struggles Texas has had. But the number 9 Longhorns are at the 1-3 Florida Gators. How do you see it in Gainesville?
Yeah, that number's really come down. It hasn't opened up at 7, so it's it seems like the smart or the sharps are taking Florida in this one because you got to think the public would be on Texas with the way Florida's been playing. I think that Florida's defense is going to be able to slow down Texas. They haven't been blown away by Arch Manning all year. I think he's going to continue to get better each and every week, but he's not there yet. Putting up 607 yards against Sam Houston does not impress me. Sam Houston's one of the weakest teams in the FBS. This is really probably the last stand for Coach Napier. They've got to rally the wagons. I mean, they go at Texas A&M next, and I don't know if he'd be able to survive that. So I think as long as DJ Lagway doesn't throw 5 interceptions and as long as the team doesn't shoot itself in the foot like they did against USF, I think they can hang with Texas. But probably your best play here would be, once again, the under. I think Texas is going to struggle with Florida's defense, and we haven't seen Florida's offense do much at all. They have got a total of 11 points per game the last 3 games. I think under might be your best play.
Phil, one more here before we break. We'll talk about the rest of the afternoon and evening slate. Just out of curiosity, because it's a matchup you may not see a bunch, Boise State's heading up to South Bend to take on Notre Dame, and the Irish all of a sudden feel like they're gaining a little bit of momentum. Notre Dame is a 20.5-point favorite over Boise State in this one. Layup here for Marcus Freeman?
Yeah, I think this is a game. Here's an interesting stat for you, Matt. Marcus Freeman is 3-6 against the spread versus Group of 5 teams. We saw that last year when they lost to Northern Illinois. However, I don't think Boise State's your typical Group of 5 team. I think they know who Boise is. They made the playoff last year. I think they treat this game like a Power 4 game because of the fact Boise was actually in the playoff. And I thought Boise was better than the final score against USF. But since then, I haven't been super impressed. The Air Force game, they were trading touchdowns with them. And it seems like Notre Dame, once they get off the slow start, they just dominate after that. And they do put the hammer down. And I like the fact that Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price have got the run game going. They've got C.J. Carr, who's much better than anybody thought he would be. And all the knock on Notre Dame's defense, here's a surprising stat for you. They're actually holding teams to 83 yards per game below their season average, which is number 30 in the country. So all that talk about the poor Notre Dame defense, because they're giving up 28 points per game, they're actually holding opponents to 83 yards per game below their average. I look for the Irish to win this one by more than 3 touchdowns. Get it while it's under 21.
Okay. Phil Steele is with us. We'll knock out a quick break. We'll continue. Got to talk about the big one in Tuscaloosa. We'll do it next on AFR.
AFR. After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
Football Friday show is brought to you by Don Juan Cigar Bar right there in Town Center. Great way to start your weekend. Go and wine, have a cocktail, premium cigar. Enjoy your Friday afternoon on into your football weekend. We got Phil Steele with us, philsteele.com, STEELE, philsteele.com. Of course, go to Barnes & Noble, Books A Mill. You can pick up your Phil Steele College Football Magazine. Phil's going to have to join us here for a couple of segments every Friday to preview the biggest games of the college football weekend. All right, Phil, Vandy got it done last year in Nashville, one of the biggest upsets any of us have ever seen. Oh, man, Vandy looks pretty good. Bama, maybe a letdown spot. Post Georgia, the Tide, or a 10.5-point home favorite over Diego Pavia, Clark Lee, and the bunch from Nashville. Can Vandy shock the world 2 years in a row?
Well, Pavia is 6-0 against the spread as an away dog, and won a bunch of those outright. Tough to go against Diego Pavia. However, I like the Tide here, yeah, and I think the big reason I like the Tide is what happened last year. Alabama got. First of all, I don't think they expected Vanderbilt to control the ball for over 40 minutes of game time and pull the upset. So they'll be focused despite beating Georgia. All Kalen DeBoer has to do is say, "Hey, last year look at that. We beat Georgia and lost to Vanderbilt. They'll be fired up. And I think Bama is one of the best teams in the country, clearly. I watched the Florida State game, yes, but I still think this is one of the best teams in the country. And if you go back and look at Vanderbilt just a little bit closer, remember they trailed Virginia Tech 20-10 at the half. Now, yes, they dominated the second half, but that's the same Virginia Tech team that trailed Old Dominion the next week, 28-0. And then the South Carolina game was 7-7 in the first quarter when Lenore Sellers went out for South Carolina. I think a 100% Alabama will be 100% focused. I like the Tide minus the points here.
All right, Phil likes Bama laying the points at home against Vanderbilt. Phil mentioned a bit ago, but another one of those unranked favorite over a ranked team. It's Louisville. They're at home. They're a 6.5-point favorite over Virginia, who's ranked after pulling the big upset against Florida State a week ago. Cardinals there 4-0, unranked. Miller Moss, Miller Moss, a guy that LSU fans got to see a year ago when he was at Southern Cal, dealing a little bit. What do you think about the home standing Cardinals there as nearly a touchdown favorite?
Well, I'm surprised at that. The ranking thing, I guess I don't look at the rankings that much during the course of the season.
Yeah.
That Virginia with one loss is ranked and Louisville at 4-0 is not ranked?
Crazy, right?
That is crazy. All right. Well, that's interesting.
Who decides who gets to vote on these things? It's great. Why doesn't Phil Steele vote on this? A guy who watches 13 TVs at a time. Can I get Phil Steele to? Can I get Phil Steele's rankings? That's what I'd look. That's what I'd put more stock in.
There you go. I am in the FWAA Super 16, so I do vote on the top 16, but not down there at the bottom 25.
Okay.
But not in the AP poll. You're correct. They should have me in the AP. But I digress. Let's go to this matchup. And, last year when these two played, I had Virginia, and they were plus 7.5 at home against Louisville. I thought they were the better team. They almost pulled the upset. Louisville got a late touchdown and pulled it out. Now, since last year, Louisville's a much weaker team than last year. Last year they had Tyler Shuck at quarterback. He had a 23-6 ratio. This year they got Miller Moss with a 5-3 ratio. Last year they were running the ball for 185 yards per game, 5.7 yards per carry. This year just 130 yards per game, 4.2 yards per carry. So they're not as good as last year. Meanwhile, Virginia is so much better than last year. I'm on the Joe Moore Award Committee, and I'm pumping this offensive line. I mean, they're averaging 5.6 yards per carry. They've allowed 3 sacks, and their quarterback, Chandler Morris, is hitting 69%. This is a potent offense, just as Florida State's defense. So I think Virginia much better than last year when they almost upset Louisville. I think they've got a good shot at upsetting Louisville this week. I'll take the Cavaliers plus the points.
All right, Phil is going with Virginia at Louisville. I want to get to one of the games here in the Southeastern Conference in the night slate, as Mississippi State's going to be on the road against Texas A&M, where the Aggies are more than a 2-touchdown favorite. Phil, we got a Mississippi State alum who works with us in our building has reminded me that since A&M came into the league, that series is 7-6 in favor of the Aggies. It has been competitive between the Battle of the Maroon. Can Mississippi State keep this one close?
The way Texas A&M plays, I wouldn't doubt it. I had A&M against Auburn last week, minus 6.5. They had a 21-9 first down edge, 414 to 177 yard edge, settled for 5 frickin' field goals, missed 2 of them, and then give up that interception return to the 2-yard line when Auburn had no business being in the game, and somehow only win the game by 6. So I'm a little angry. Mike Elko's first year, he was 3-10 against the spread, and this year he's 1-3 against the spread. So he's not being a spread covering guy. Mississippi State showed a lot of scrappiness. Once the talent says A&M should be able to win this game by 17. It's one I'm staying away from, though, because Mike Elko's just not covering for some stupid reason.
That means I'm going Mississippi State. I'll let you stay. I'll let you stay away from. I'm rolling with the Bulldogs in that one, man. Let's get a couple more in here if we can. We'll get to the big one with Miami and Florida State here in just a second. One in the Big 12 though is Texas Tech at Houston, and I'm curious. The Red Raiders are all the way up to number 11 in the country. They're an 11.5-point road favorite here, but Houston's 4-0. They're 1-0 in the Big 12. Cougs maybe a live dog there at home.
Yeah, I like them at home. And you go back to last year. Houston was just 4-8, right? But their defense held opponents to 75 yards per game below their average, number 13 in the country. Their problem last year was their offense was horrific. It couldn't score. Well, this year they've got Connor Wegman at quarterback. They've got Dean Connors, who was Rice's best offensive player, running back. And now they're averaging 380 yards per game, about 100 yards per game more than last year. Now, last week they must have been looking ahead to this one because Oregon State almost beat them on the road, but they're at home. Live home dog. I love Willie Fritz. He's one of the, and you're very familiar with him with his days at Tulane. And Texas Tech, keep in mind, it was 10-10 against Utah in the fourth quarter. Remember last year, LSU was playing A&M, and all of a sudden they brought in the mobile quarterback. It sort of surprised them.
No, I don't remember that at all, Phil. I don't remember that at all. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Seemed like that was with Utah against Texas Tech last week. Will Hammond came in the fourth quarter, started running the football at the quarterback position, and boom, all of a sudden 10-10 turned into 34-10. So I think Houston will be well prepared. It looks like Baron Morton's going to be back at quarterback for this one. I think Houston can hang with them.
You got a thought on Coach Prime in Colorado going on the road to Fort Worth? A little bounce-back spot maybe for Colorado at TCU. The Horned Frogs are a 13.5-point favorite. That's the night game on Fox.
Yeah, I like the way that Colorado's playing. I think they've been scrappy. They show they're going to show up each and every week. Our question marks at quarterback, but I think they're going to stick with Caden Salter for this one. And they only lost to BYU by 3, which was a good performance. But I just think you first go back to Sonny Dykes, coming off the national title game. The next year, they're host Colorado and all the hype and Deion Sanders. And Deion Sanders beat them. All right, so, normally I only give revenge games on a one-year basis, but you got to think that's stuck in his craw a little bit. And when you look at TCU, remember the opener against North Carolina? They were out to prove that, hey, we're here. You're all that talks about North Carolina and Bill Belichick. We're a team, and they clubbed them in that one. They led Arizona State 17-0 on the road. They're off a loss at home. I'm going to go with TCU minus the points in that one. I think they're the better team, and I think they'll be highly motivated.
He's on Twitter at PhilSteele042, PhilSteele.com, STEELE, PhilSteele.com. All right, the big one, Miami at Florida State. What a letdown for the Noles last week, losing that score fest against UVA. Miami's ranked 3rd in the country. They're 4-0. This one's at the Doak in Tallahassee. So, bounce back for Florida State, or do the Canes remain unbeaten?
I'm going to say that Florida State bounces back. I'm going to ignore their loss against Virginia, although they did have a 514 to 440-yard edge. And I'm going to say that, had this game been played last week, the game might be closer to pick 'em because Florida State would have been unbeaten. But they already proved that they knocked off a very good Alabama team at home. This is the first road game for Miami of Florida this year. So I think the situation sets up well. The underdog has done well in this series. The home team's done well in this series. A lot of outright upsets. I think Florida State bounces back and pulls the big upset here. A very good Miami team, but I think Florida State's equally as good. Look for Tommy Castellanos to have a big game.
Gotta love the energy of a giant upset pick on a Football Friday. He's Phil Steele. He's with us every Friday. We tell you every week about the Phil Steele Plus Tour. Phil, let's remind folks about what they get there at the Phil Steele Plus Tour at PhilSteele.com.
Hey, I appreciate that, Matt. Once again, just go to PhilSteele.com right now, click on the main menu, and you'll see the Phil Steele Plus Tour is up there. Now, there's an FCS version and the FBS version. You should check them both out. The FCS version is 42-19 over 2 years, so if you can play those games, check that out. If you don't, also check out the FBS version, 4-2 last week, 4-1 on the quick hitters, and you also get 2 NFL plays up there. All that's absolutely free. Just take the Phil Steele Plus Tour on YouTube, and it's up right now. Both versions are up right now.
I'm sorry, did you say 42-19?
Yeah, I know. He went 3-2 last week and dropped the record down to 42-19.
42-19. My God, print money. Phil's helping you pay for your kids' college. He's doing it for free. PhilSteele.com. Phil, we always appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Hey, a lot of fun as always, Matt. Look forward to talking to you next week for the big game versus South Carolina.
Tigers will be back on the field. That is Phil Steele. It is after further review. We will knock out a quick break and continue. Our tailgate segment is next on Football Friday edition of AFR, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for decades. Get Gordon and get it done. Of course, you can go to getgordon.com, getgordon.com. If you're watching with us, we got the Get Gordon football over there on the front of the set, as we do every single day. Of course, Gordon loves to support the home teams as well. not only the Tigers, but teams all over the state of Louisiana through the G team and the many different NIL deals that he does. Another way that Gordon gives back. Always encourage you to go check out GordonGives.com. It's the charitable arm of the Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys firm. And Gordon and his team love to give back to the communities that have given them so much. So if you want to learn more about the many different events and giveaways and charitable works that they do at Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys, you can go to GordonGives.com. Again, that's GordonGives.com for Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. But as we say every day, if you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault. Don't go it alone. Go to GetGordon.com, get Gordon, and get it done.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona, presented by Don Juan Cigar Bar.
All right, wrapping up hour number one. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. Terry will be in studio in about 15 minutes from right now. Coben's in here. We'll do the tailgate segment in just a quick second. There is now video on Twitter. I'm trying to see. I want to give credit. This is from KFOL. This is KFOL TV 10. They have released an interview with attorney Matt Ory, who was Kyron Lacey's attorney, in the wreck allegedly involving Kyron Lacey last December, in which it ended up being a fatal crash. There's a long form interview. It's 44 minutes with attorney Matt Ory. And they have video of the wreck, the fatal crash. And the way the story was painted was that Kyron Lacey was involved. As you look at this video, and you can go full screen with it, Paulie. As you look at this video, Kyron Lacey, it was determined, was 72 yards behind the wreck at the time of impact. It's certainly not how the story was told. If you're watching, there's Kyron in the green car. So as he approaches, then he goes around the wreck and continues on his way. So this is a long-form interview with Kyron Lacey's attorney. This video has come out. It doesn't change the fact that a man died in that car accident. And it doesn't bring back Kyron Lacey. This could, in some way, however, serve to exonerate Kyron Lacey. And certainly the video would suggest that, as he was not speeding past and causing a wreck. He was, again, as it's been dictated, 72.6 yards behind the vehicles at the time of that impact. And I know I can say things like this, and it probably won't resonate. But so often people are very quick to jump to a conclusion, and it's why in this country we have a presumption of innocence until guilt can be proven. This is why. It's a tragedy all the way around. A man died in that car wreck. Kyron Lacey took his own life. And there's no winners here. But hopefully this does serve as, we'll see what all plays out from this. But it serves as another reminder, like the Duke lacrosse case years ago and so many other examples, to illustrate why it's so important not to rush to judgment and to let the legal system play itself out. So I will, after the show, watch the entirety of that 44-minute interview, and we'll talk about it at another time. It is After Further Review. We are brought to you by Parish Restoration, parishrestoration.com. I know that's awkward to transition from that to this, so my apologies, but it just, sometimes live radio, you do what you got to do. Parish Restoration, parishrestoration.com. Big shout out to my buddy, Mr. Jim Woodworth. Kill mold, remove odor. Garrett Nussmeyer is an NIL deal and a customer there at Parish Restoration. Garrett and his fiance bought a home, and that home had mold. They hired Parish Restoration to come spray their patented non-toxic dry fog. Knocked out all the mold. It's awesome. You go to the website, parishrestoration.com, parishrestoration.com. Scroll down, and you can see Garrett, his testimonials right there on the homepage. Garrett Restoration. Parishrestoration.com. Parishrestoration.com. Kill mold, remove odor, other harmful pathogens. It's cost efficient. It's efficient. It's Parish Restoration. Parishrestoration.com. All right, Muse, hit it. Let's do the tailgate segment.
At LSU, we play hard, but we tailgate harder. Light your burner, fire up the grill. It's time for our Football Friday tailgate recipe of the week with Chris's Specialty Foods. 4 locations, or go to chrisspecialtyfoods.com.
All right, well, if you're tailgating out at LSU this week, you're tailgating alone because there's no game this week. But the Saints play, and it's never a bad opportunity to go throw something on the grill. Coben's here from Chris's. How are you, dude?
What's up, Matt? Glad to be back, brother.
It's always our pleasure. Thanks for hanging out with us here. So, open date. This is probably a lot of time where people maybe get some honeydews done and maybe watch some games at home, throw something on the grill. So, what you got in mind?
Yeah, so brought a couple different things today. The crowd we did with the brisket last week, it was awesome. We got a positive feedback. People came in, loved the brisket. So it was awesome. I brought some more goodies today. Not our most popular items because people don't think to get it, but they're great. So we brought them by. I want to get people trying it. Right here, you saw it and went, oh, my God.
I said, what is that?
That is
it's a giant chunk of meat.
Yeah, that is a shrimp stuffed pork chops. So we do our own stuffed pork chops. We have 3 different stuffings. We have a cornbread, a pork sausage, and a shrimp. That's our shrimp. It's our most popular.
All right, talk me through how you stuff a pork chop.
Okay.
So if someone wants, we always like to give value. So I mean, look, you can go buy it from Chris's, and it's awesome. If someone wants to try to do this themselves, how do you do that?
Yeah, so we actually have the tools to do it. We use our sausage shooter and butterfly it and shoot it in there, but you can definitely do it by hand. You just butterfly the pork chop. You can do any stuffing you want. That's a shrimp one, and then you can either net it back together or sew it back together like a stuffed brisket or something.
Okay. Does it affect when you butterfly it to stuff it? Does the temperature affect how it might cook or cook through or cook evenly?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Once you close it back up, either net it or sew it back together, it goes back to its original shape and it's all good.
Okay.
And then we have this is actually a pretty popular item for us. Our bacon wrap stuffed chicken thighs with jalapeno cream cheese.
Ooh.
People love that. It's very easy to go on the grill. All this stuff is already prepped. All you have to do is go home and throw that on the grill. You throw that on the grill, 350, 45 minutes. You have some really good stuffed chicken thighs. They're unbelievable. 4
locations, Highland Road by I-10 across from Rufino's. There's Millerville, there's Central, and then Lakeview in New Orleans for all of our 504 peeps. And you brought sides as well, because I know you it's so easy to do the twice stuffed potatoes and all this. It's just it's so easy just to grab those, throw them in the oven.
Yeah, that's our whole goal at Chris's. Everything's prepped and all the work is done for you. As soon as you get home, all you're either doing is popping in the oven or dropping in boiling water, and you have fresh Louisiana authentic food.
That is great for tailgates too. I know we talk a lot of times you like to throw your own meat on the grill or whatever you're going to do, but with the boil bags and a lot of different things, it makes it so easy when you're out at a tailgate. So chrisspecialtyfoods.com. That's a website. So I always say back-to-back S's. chrisspecialtyfoods.com is how you'd spell it out. You could buy any of the 4 locations. And this is this a gift box for Christmas time?
Anytime, but yes, we do a lot during Christmas. So we have 3 gift boxes: a chicken box, a beef box with steaks, or a pork tenderloin box. That comes with 2 sides and a pack of sausage or boudin. And if you don't want that, we do custom boxes. We have dry goods, alcohol, everything. So it's not just set boxes. You can come in there, determine what you want, and then it can work for corporate. It can work for teachers. It can work. It's just a great, easy gift to give somebody where they can have Louisiana cooked food.
Yep. And deer season is open now.
Yes, it is open.
So
we've already gotten some in. So yeah, we're full steam, ready to go.
Get to Chris's Specialty Foods. Any of the locations, they can process your deer fully. All right, we're less than a minute. How would the defensive coordinator of the Dunham Tigers stopped Lane Kiffin's offense last week?
I thought the defense, obviously the defense was better than the offense.
They were gassed by the end.
Yes.
Man.
Yeah, being on the field, He said he went up tempo and ran 50-something plays in the first half. To be on the field for that long is very tough.
Yeah, 49 snaps for the it's crazy.
It's hard to even compete with that.
Hopefully next week a better results. Tigers will be big favorites at home against South Carolina. Thanks, Coben. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Matt.
That is Coben Linedecker from Chris's. Terrio's here. Hour number 2 is next.
AFR.
We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020. If you want to see 2020, call 924-2020. But remember, one more day to remind you, tomorrow, Saturday the 4th, is Federalis Fest presented by the Williamson Eye Center. Dr. Blake's he's a big music lover, big fan of Americana as well. So if you're interested in learning more, buying tickets, all the good stuff for Federalis Fest, which is Saturday, it's tomorrow, presented by the Williamson Eye Center. You can get all the info at federalisfest.com. That's federalisfest.com. Saturday in Baton Rouge, live music. If you want to get out and enjoy the open day, you can do it with our friends from the Williamson Eye Center, proud presenting sponsors of Federalis Fest here in Baton Rouge. And of course, if you can't see nothing, they can help you. Eye care, eyewear, eye surgery. Do your annual eye exam. They can update your contacts or glasses prescription, get those filled for you. And of course, you want to ditch the contacts and glasses, they got a refractive procedure no matter your age or refractive issue. WilliamsonEye.com.